Welcome to my channel, Tales of Courage. Today, I'm sharing a story that will touch your heart and show what real respect truly means. This isn't just a story about uniforms or rank. It's a story of bravery, dignity, and the quiet strength that inspires everyone who hears it. There are moments in history when arrogance walks boldly into a room, smiling, only to collide with a force it never expected. Moments when a lesson arrives not with speeches or punishment, but in the form of a quiet individual who simply refuses to be underestimated. This is one of those moments. It happened on a training base far from the noise of cities, where fresh recruits arrived carrying equal parts fear and ambition. Among them was a woman who looked at first glance unremarkable. Small frame, calm posture, a silence so steady it almost seemed deliberate. Her name was Ava Morgan, the new recruit, assigned to a temporary cross-branch evaluation program.
But before she could even sign in her gear, the trouble found her. Three senior trainees, loud, overconfident, and intoxicated by their own reputations, hovered near the training mats. They were known across the base for their swagger, for their unchecked habit of reminding others of their supposed superiority. And when they saw Ava walk in with her minimal kit bag and that unreadable expression, they decided instantly that she was their target.
They mocked her build. They mocked her silence. They mocked the way she moved, slow, measured, almost graceful, like someone who had nothing to prove. "What they send us?" one of them laughed. "A tourist? She won't last a single drill." Another leaned closer, smirking. "Hey, recruit, hope you like falling. We'll make sure you spend plenty of time on the floor." Ava simply looked at him. No fear, no anger, only patience. An old kind of patience, the kind carried by people who have already endured storms far greater than the insults of men who mistake volume for strength. She offered no defense, no explanation, and that, more than anything, irritated them.
It happened during the first close quarters drill, an evaluation meant to test reaction time. A simple spar, light contact only, nothing serious. But arrogance never plays by the rules. One of the senior trainees stepped forward, grinning as he raised his guard. "Let's break her in." He lunged. What followed took exactly 40 seconds. A sharp crack split the air, his balance stolen before he understood he had moved. Another movement, fluid, disciplined, sent his hand slipping uselessly away as she redirected his momentum. A final pivot placed him flat on the mat, staring up at the ceiling, breath torn from his lungs.
His friends rushed in. Another thud. Another frozen silence. Another takedown so clean it felt rehearsed. When the last man hit the floor, the entire gym stopped moving. The timing officers, the watching recruits. Even the ventilation seemed to hesitate, as though the building itself understood something extraordinary had just occurred.
For several long seconds, no one spoke. The three men remained on the ground, one clutching his shoulder, another rubbing the back of his head, the third staring at Ava as if trying to understand what had just happened. Ava stepped back, adjusting nothing, not her breathing, not her stance, not her calm. The supervising petty officer, who had witnessed the entire event, walked forward with a slow, almost stunned caution. He had seen aggressive recruits before. He had seen show-offs. He had seen fights, arguments, and poor judgment. But he had never seen a recruit handle three trained men with the precision of someone who had spent years mastering discipline. "What's your background, Morgan?" he finally asked. She hesitated, not from shame, but from careful choice of words. "Navy program, sir?" "Which Navy program?" She met his eyes. "Special operations." A shock moved through the room, quiet, heavy, undeniable. The petty officer nodded once, understanding the significance. There were no warnings issued, no punishments. The three senior trainees had written their own lesson with their own hands. Later, in the hallway outside the gym, he pulled the men aside. "You weren't beaten," he said firmly. "You were taught.
and you should be grateful your teacher showed restraint." Their pride was bruised, but something deeper had shifted. The humiliation they felt wasn't born from defeat, it was born from realizing how blind arrogance had made them. They had mocked a new recruit without understanding that skill earns silence long before it earns applause. One of them approached Ava later, unsure and uncomfortable. "I didn't know who you were." Ava shook her head gently. "You don't need to know who someone is to treat them with respect." It was the line that stayed with them, the line that reshaped the culture of that entire evaluation class. Because respect, she reminded them, is not owed because someone is strong. It is owed because every human being carries battles unseen. And those who walk quietly often carry the heaviest ones.
What happened that morning did not fade. It did not become a rumor, nor did it remain a secret among the handful who witnessed it. Instead, it grew. Weeks later, new recruits whispered the story as if it were an unofficial chapter in the base's history. Months later, officers retold it as a lesson in humility for incoming classes. Years later, the tale traveled far beyond that single training hall. They called it the 42nd lesson, a reminder that arrogance falls quickly, and strength often hides in silence. Ava Morgan completed her evaluations and returned to her unit. She earned commendations, advanced through ranks, and became known not only for her skill, but for her quiet integrity, her insistence that respect was not a gift to the powerful, but a duty from the strong. Every now and then, someone from that day, one of the men she humbled, or one of the recruits who watched in awe, would cross paths with her again. And almost always they asked the same question. How did you stay so calm, even when they mocked you? Her answer never changed. Because dignity isn't something others can take away from you. It's something you choose to keep. And with those words, she would walk on, steady, quiet, unshakable. A legend not because of 40 seconds of combat, but because of a lifetime of character behind it. So, my friends, if you like this story, like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. There are more brave stories coming.